The rain had almost erased the little girl's footprints from the cracked sidewalk when she stopped outside a tiny grocery store, holding a few worn coins so tightly that her small fingers had turned white. Her eyes never left the bottle of milk sitting inside the refrigerator. Hunger had become familiar, but tonight was different. She wasn't hungry only for herself. At home, her sick mother had not eaten for 2 days, and the little girl had promised she would somehow bring back something warm and nourishing. She believed promises should never be broken, even by children. At that very moment, a black luxury car rolled to a stop beside the store, carrying one of the richest men in the city, a millionaire whose fortune could buy the entire neighborhood but whose lonely heart had forgotten what genuine kindness looked like. Neither of them knew that a single glass of milk would change both of their lives forever. Before we continue this unforgettable journey, if you believe that one act of kindness can change a life, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who still believes in compassion, leave a comment about a moment when kindness changed your life, and subscribe to Kindness Speaks so together we can spread stories that remind the world hope is never truly lost. The millionaire had built an empire from almost nothing. Years earlier, he had slept on cold floors, worked endless nights, and sacrificed friendships, love, and even family to achieve success. His company now employed thousands, his face appeared in magazines, and politicians shook his hand. Yet every evening he returned to an enormous mansion where silence echoed through empty rooms. His parents had passed away before seeing his success, and the woman he once loved had left because she could no longer compete with his obsession for wealth. People admired his achievements, but few knew he often ate dinner alone in a dining room large enough for 30 guests. As he stepped out of his car that rainy evening, he noticed the little girl staring through the grocery store window. She couldn't have been older than 8 years old. Her clothes were clean but patched many times. Her shoes were too small, and rainwater had soaked through the worn soles. Despite everything, there was no bitterness in her face, only determination mixed with quiet fear. The store owner gently explained that her coins were not enough. She nodded politely, thanked him anyway, and slowly turned toward the door, trying to hide the tears gathering in her eyes. The millionaire watched her for several seconds. Something inside him stirred, something he hadn't felt in decades. Without thinking, he asked the shopkeeper to prepare a large glass of warm milk and several fresh loaves of bread. The little girl looked confused when they were placed in front of her. She glanced around, wondering who had made a mistake. When the wealthy stranger smiled kindly, she understood the gift was meant for her. Instead of grabbing the food immediately, she surprised everyone. She thanked him with remarkable politeness, carefully drank only a few sips, wrapped the bread safely, and asked if she could take the rest home because her mother needed it more. The millionaire felt his throat tighten. In a world where many adults demanded more than they deserved, this hungry child thought first of someone else. Before leaving, she looked directly into his eyes with complete sincerity and said she could not repay him today, but one day, when she grew up, she would pay him back. Those simple words made the millionaire smile. To him, it sounded like the innocent promise only a hopeful child could make. He gently told her she owed him nothing because kindness should never expect payment. She nodded, holding the warm milk close to her chest like a priceless treasure, and disappeared into the rain. For days, the encounter refused to leave his mind. During business meetings worth millions of dollars, he found himself remembering those determined eyes. He quietly asked one of his assistants to locate the little girl without making her feel uncomfortable. They discovered she lived with her widowed mother in an old apartment building scheduled for demolition. Her mother worked whenever illness allowed, cleaning offices at night, but chronic kidney disease had stolen her strength. Medical bills had consumed every saving they ever had. The millionaire wanted to help immediately, yet he remembered how pride often accompanies hardship. Instead of arriving with cameras or publicity, he secretly arranged for anonymous grocery deliveries, paid overdue rent through a local charity, and covered medical treatments without revealing his identity. Every package arrived with only one handwritten note: "Someone believes tomorrow will be better." Months passed. The mother's health slowly improved. The little girl continued studying with remarkable dedication. She spent evenings reading borrowed books beneath a flickering lamp because electricity was often unreliable. Teachers noticed she never complained, never made excuses, and always helped classmates who struggled. She believed education was the bridge between suffering and hope. The millionaire quietly followed her progress from a distance. Each school report filled him with unexpected pride. Watching her determination awakened something he had buried long ago, the dream of helping others instead of merely accumulating wealth. He began funding scholarships anonymously, supporting community clinics, and opening free meal programs for children. Employees noticed their demanding boss had changed. He smiled more often. He listened more carefully. Profit remained important, but people finally mattered even more. Years rolled forward like changing seasons. The little girl grew into a brilliant young woman. She earned scholarships, graduated at the top of her class, and chose medicine because she never forgot the nights when illness nearly stole her mother. Every difficult exam reminded her of the stranger who had believed in her without asking for anything in return. Though she never learned his name, she carried the memory of that warm glass of milk wherever she... Meanwhile, the millionaire reached an age when success could no longer protect him from life's unexpected storms. During an overseas business trip, his private plane encountered severe weather. Though the aircraft landed safely, the stress triggered a serious heart condition that had gone unnoticed for years. He returned home weak and exhausted. Specialists recommended a complicated surgical procedure with significant risks. By an extraordinary coincidence, the country's leading cardiac surgeon assigned to oversee part of his treatment was the same little girl, now an accomplished doctor known for her compassion as much as her skill. She reviewed the patient's medical history before entering his hospital room. At first, she saw only another wealthy businessman. But when he looked up and smiled with the same gentle kindness she had seen as a child, memories rushed back like a flood. The years had changed his appearance. His hair had turned gray, and countless lines marked his face, yet his eyes were exactly the same. She remembered the rain, the grocery store, the warm milk, and the promise she had made so many years ago. Tears filled her eyes before she could stop them. She realized destiny had quietly honored the promise of a little girl. She devoted herself to his care with extraordinary dedication, treating him with the same compassion she offered every patient, yet carrying deep gratitude within her heart. The operation lasted many tense hours. Every heartbeat mattered. Every decision carried enormous weight. Outside the operating room, executives, employees, and friends waited anxiously. The man who had built an empire now depended entirely on the hands of someone whose life he had once changed with a simple act of generosity. When the surgery finally succeeded, relief swept through the hospital. Recovery required patience, but each day he became stronger. During one quiet afternoon, the doctor finally shared the story he had completely forgotten. She reminded him of the rainy evening, the grocery store, and the warm glass of milk. At first he searched his memory carefully, then suddenly everything returned. His eyes widened with disbelief as he recognized the little girl standing before him. She smiled through tears and reminded him of the promise she had made years earlier, that one day she would pay him back when she grew up. Although no amount of success could truly repay genuine kindness, she explained that every life she had saved, every patient she had comforted, and every child she had inspired had been possible because one compassionate stranger refused to ignore a hungry little girl. The millionaire sat silently, overwhelmed by emotion. He had believed he was helping one child for one evening. Instead, that single decision had echoed across decades, touching thousands of lives through the doctor she became. In that moment, he understood that kindness is never measured by its size but by the lives it continues to transform long after the moment has passed. After leaving the hospital, the millionaire made perhaps the most meaningful decision of his entire life. He created a foundation providing free education, healthcare, and meals for children facing poverty. He asked the doctor to lead many of its humanitarian programs. Together they traveled across forgotten communities, proving that compassion could accomplish what money alone never could. The foundation became known not for luxury buildings or expensive advertisements but for restoring hope. Children who once believed their dreams were impossible became teachers, engineers, nurses, artists, and doctors. Families rebuilt their lives. Entire neighborhoods changed because one act of kindness inspired another, and another, creating a chain that never seemed to end. Years later, visitors entering the foundation's headquarters always noticed a simple framed picture hanging quietly in the entrance hall. It showed nothing more than a glass of milk. Beneath it was a small inscription reminding everyone that no act of kindness is ever too small, and no promise made with a sincere heart is ever truly forgotten. If this story touched your heart, please support Kindness Speaks by liking this video, sharing it with your family and friends, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a heartfelt comment. Your support helps these inspiring stories reach people who may desperately need hope today. Special request: before you leave, please comment with the words, "Kindness always comes back." We'd love to know where you're watching from and whether you believe one small act of compassion can truly change someone's future. Because sometimes, the greatest fortunes are never counted in money. They are measured in the lives we lift, the hope we restore, and the love we leave behind. And somewhere, perhaps today, someone is waiting for a simple act of kindness that could change their entire life forever.